There's an old joke that one of the advisors of Stalin comes to him and says, the Jewish papers are predicting the day you're going to die, and it's going to be on a Jewish holiday. Which one? Stalin asks. Passover? No. Rosh Hashanah? No. Yom Kippur? No. Sukkot? No. Well, which one? Any day you die will be a Jewish holiday. In this week's Parsha Shelach, there's a very strange line. The spies come back from touring the land, and they describe the land as such. Chapter 13, verse 32. Every Israeli knows this phrase, Eretz Ochelet Yoshvecha. It is a land that devours its inhabitants. Very strange. What do they do with the people who die in America? I don't believe that they cart them to the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean and throw them in. Every country devours its inhabitants. So Chazal come along and explain what they meant. That wherever they went, the kings of that territory dropped dead. And the people were so busy dealing with the change in leadership, they had no time to deal with or worry or think about or notice the spies. Now, Rav Noach used to say this line, that of all the anti-Semitic tropes that were dished out over history, there never was one in which they said, you know, the Jews, they're stupid. That they never said. They said many nasty things. That one did not come out. So how come the spies and the Jewish people who heard the news that these immensely evil people, who were the enemies, who hated the Jewish people, nevertheless, no one was happy to hear that they dropped dead? How do you understand that? Imagine for a minute, you're flying from America to Israel, and halfway across the Atlantic, you get some engine trouble, and you have to make an emergency landing of all places, Tehran, Iran. Everyone's very nervous. There's Israelis on the plane, but there's a few high-ranking State Department officials who tell everyone, don't worry, we've got this taken care of. We'll speak to the right people. Everyone will be okay. You're safe. Don't worry. An El Al plane lands in Tehran, real sight, there's security there, police and everything. And as they land, all of a sudden, the whole airport goes into a tumult. And it's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? It looks like a crisis going on. And someone picks up the news, the Ayatollah dropped dead. Oh my goodness, this is incredible. There's a few smart fellows on the plane, and they start to think, this is such a coincidence. As we land, the Ayatollah drops dead. They speak to some of the State Department officials. They go, you mind if we give it another shot? They work out a plan. They ask the rest of the plane. Everyone's into it. So after they take off, they make another so-called emergency landing in Syria. And as they touch the tarmac, Assad drops dead, the leader of Syria, another great anti-Semite. This is just too much to fathom, but nevertheless, the guys from the State Department, they get the Prime Minister of Israel on the phone, and they get the President of America on the phone. Let's give it another shot. Let's go to North Korea. So they make another emergency landing in North Korea. As they touch down, the leader there, Kim Jong-un, drops dead. This is just too much. Now they start drawing up plans to visit all kinds of countries all over the world that got these despots and evil people. Who would be upset that these despicable people dropped dead? So when the spies came back and they said, Eretz Ochelet Yoshvecha, what are they being upset about? Yes, great. They all dropped dead. Fantastic. Rav Noach always used to say, so you want to solve a difficult question, ask another question. So they said, it's a land that devours its inhabitants. The Torah goes on to say a very interesting thing. If you do things you shouldn't be doing, then the Torah says, you know what will happen? The land will vomit you out. That's very interesting. You can't vomit out something that you haven't eaten. In other words, the Torah is telling us that what they said is true. It's a land that eats you up, and if you're not careful, will vomit you out. So what was it that they were so upset about? They knew full well that the reason these evil people are dropping dead is because their plane touched down. It's sort of like drinking orange juice after a cup of milk. It isn't going to go well in your stomach. You can drink orange juice and you can drink milk, but not at the same time. The land does devour you. And you can have evil people there, or you can have good people there, but you can't have them at the same time. They understood that the reason these people dropped dead is because we entered their territory. And you might be wondering, that sounds very good. And it is, as long as you are good. But do you really want to live in a place where if you don't have the right kavanah when you're davening chakras in the morning, that a pigeon poops on your head in the afternoon? The land of Israel gets under your skin because you don't live on the land like in any other country. The land has a life to it that you live within. Jews, in fact, understand this intuitively. The only Jews who miss their land are Israeli Jews. You can make a life for yourself in America, but Israel will make your life